Welcome back to V2K Photography. This is the Nikon Z7 II. The sensor on this one is a 45.7 megapixel BSI CMOS sensor. The lack of the optical low-pass filter help in producing extra detailed images than the cameras with the filter on. The camera body is identical to the Z6 and the Z7 except for the dual card slots, one XQD and one UHS 2 compatible SD card slot. First of all, let's take care of the elephant in the room, the autofocus performance. The autofocus performance is significantly improved from the first generation cameras, even with their most recent firmware updates. How much improved? We can now detect human eyes from much farther away than before. Tracking also works pretty good for portraits. I am super pleased with the skin tone rendition from the new Z cameras. There is something so pleasing to the eyes, the colors feel accurate and true to life. I would say the eye autofocus hit the focus accurately about 85 to 90% of the shots. There is still room for improvement, yes, but having said that, Nikon has been improvising the autofocus and the Z7 II might get a couple more firmware updates with the autofocus tweaks. We have the boxed IAF feature, which is a bit faster than the full-frame IAF because the camera needs to only scan a specific region than the whole 45 megapixels. How about video continuous autofocus? That's where Nikon used to be way behind. I must say, for a company that lagged in this space for nearly a decade, Nikon has been making leaping improvements in the second generation. The Z7 II has the same set of 493 hybrid AF points just like the Z7. However, the dual processor has enhanced the AF performance in this one. The tracking of a subject is now much more reliable in the new 1.20 firmware version. It is pretty obvious when you work with it. The focus overlay is much better than the previous firmware. It doesn't jump around like crazy anymore. It is way stickier than before, giving more confidence to the user. When the face is detected in the frame, the camera won't let go of it until the subject is really far away or too small in the frame. The face tracking is much smoother, confident, silent and responsive once it holds on to the subject. There is no hunting like we had with the contrast detect autofocus. The first generation Z bodies did not seem to follow the settings with respect to the autofocus, such as sensitivity and speed, especially in videography. When you tap to focus using the touchscreen while in AFF mode, the focus used to jump to the destination without a smooth transition. With the new 1.20 firmware, this is very much fixed. The focus is pretty smooth and confident, just as I expect. Well done, Nikon. Way to go. The camera can shoot up to 10 photos a second in both RAW and JPEG. Can hold 200 JPEG photos and 80 RAW photos in the buffer. A decent sized buffer in my opinion. When it comes to dynamic range, highlight recovery is at most 1.5 stops, whereas the shadow recovery works well up to 4 stops. Testing with the color checker passport, I could see no color shift even at ISO 25600. There is a change in the saturation due to the lack of details in the higher ISO, but the colors are consistent across the ISO range. Pretty amazing. Just like the Z7, we also have the good old focus stacking and time-lapse features. Let's talk about the videography a little bit more. Now we can record 4K in 60p and the bitrate comes around 280 megabits per second in 4K 60p. The files look good. The 4K is line skipped and it's a little bit softer than the Z6 II, but it's hard to tell the difference without scrutinizing. The Z7 II can shoot Full HD up to 120p with autofocus in APS-C mode, in the DX mode, just as the original Z7. The 4K 60p enables to play back the footage at 40% the original speed. It comes with a small crop of 1.1 times. I did not see any banding when the exposure is pulled up to 5 stops in the post. Absolutely no banding. This camera is a great value for money. The autofocus has significantly improved. The lack of OLPF yields crisp images when combined with the S lenses, which are awesome themselves. The Z7 II is quite a good camera in my opinion. The fact that you can record Blackmagic RAW and ProRes RAW in 4K externally makes it stronger in the video segment as well. In my opinion, this camera is a great choice for weddings, events, portraits, studio works, video work, astrophotography and many more. If you thought of waiting until the second generation cameras come out in Nikon, I think it's a good time to go ahead. If you are a fan of Nikon's files, colors, rendition, this camera is an excellent value. I'll see you guys in the next video. Until then, bye bye.